And then we moved on to, as you were mentioning, active duty military service members, not just in like regular old day-to-day life, but as they're preparing for their next deployment. So again, to place this in time, our initial studies were happening right around the surge, right after 9/11, when there was a lot of multi-tour contacts happening. So for example, the Marine unit that we initially partnered with, it was about their fourth or fifth on average tour, back to back to back.
Wow.
And I think that the fact that they've gone back so many times and we're noticing in themselves, things are not, we're not resetting before we go. We are having a chronic depletion from the multi-tour context. They were probably opened up to more unusual offerings. And so when we approached them about doing a mindfulness training study, they said yes. And the first thing I said is, well, we want to test you and train you as you're preparing to go. We're not going to wait. Like, let's start right now. They're like, we're about to start our pre-deployment training. And I said, great, let us evaluate how you're doing with regard to your attention and your mood. And then we'll offer the training and then we'll evaluate you again. And then you can go to be deployed as you need to be. And so the first thing that was I think the very surprising learning, though I had predicted it.
Can I ask,
Yeah,
did you,
sure.
I mean, I'm just kind of picturing like the Marines and the Army, and I'm picturing you coming in this, like, I mean, maybe it wasn't you or whatever, but like, here we are, these researchers, we're going to give you this mindfulness thing. Did you get some eye rolls and some like skepticism and some like, okay, fine, whatever?
Well, first of all, they were a little bit thrown off because it was me and my colleague, and she happens to be a security studies professor from Georgetown. And so when we both walked into this military base, the two Marine captains that met us, first of all, they were very confused. They for sure thought I was the mindfulness lady, and that she was the neuroscientist. And I'm like, no, flip it. I'm the neuroscientist. She's the mindfulness instructor. So they were already like, they didn't know what to make of us. And then 100% skepticism. But they were also innovative leaders that cared about their Marines. And so the skepticism was paired with a hopefulness that something could happen, something beneficial could happen, because what they were doing wasn't working and they still had to go back. So I think that as I said, in some sense, it was because things were so difficult that they opened up to this possibility. And I really credit them for having that open-mindedness to give it a try, because, and even as I met them, like, we're having these conversations, we're planning out the logistics, and I'm thinking, how is this going to look? A group of 30 guys that look like these two with their eyes closed, breathing. I mean, how is that going to look? They had the same thought. But what was amazing is that they agreed to it and they participated. And, it was funny. At one point, I remember they had a block leave, which means that everybody got, time off. And one of the captains, I remember, told me that during that block leave, they actually took a group trip to Vegas. So they're in Vegas, they're going to have like a good time. But the first thing that happened in one of the groups is they said, okay, before we head out, I'm closing the curtains. We're sitting down. We're doing our mindfulness practice. And I was like, really? And they just wanted to kind of reset into the mode of now enjoying themselves. But they did it collectively and kind of organically, like, come on, guys, get this done, get the workout done, and then we'll go have fun. So it was amazing to me that they opened to it and then they incorporated it into their culture and their demands in their life. So I don't know, does that?
And yeah. That's fascinating. I love that. And so I have so many questions about it. Like, what were the results? And also, like, what particularly, did they practice? How long did they practice?
Yeah.
Like in this, like they're very busy, high stress situation. Tell me a little more about the details.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I'll tell you is, we set up the study. We said pre-deployment, we're going to test you on attention tasks and psych health measures. And then we're going to give you the training and we're going to do it again. But we also had a group in this study that did not get the training because, as any kind of gold standard research methodology, it's a randomized controlled trial. So you get some people that get it and some people that don't. So when we looked at the data of the group that got nothing at all in this pre-deployment interval where they're preparing, they're getting ready to go do something hard. It's intended to make them better so that they can go do the demanding thing. What we found was disconcerting, but predicted, which is everybody's attention was worse between time 1 and time 2. So 8 weeks apart, everybody gets worse. their mood worse, their stress levels increased. And now they're going to be deployed. So that was a really eye-opening sort of moment. But the reason I had predicted it is because we had this knowledge that high stress, high demand will deplete attention. And even though it's a preparatory interval, it's high demand. You're preparing for difficult things. You're doing live fire drills. You're actually doing combat scenarios where you're playing out different things that you might have to do.
Yeah, and
so
you're anticipating the whole time.
And you're anticipating the whole time I'm about to go. So that was troubling, but expected, unfortunately. And then the hopeful thing was, well, what happens when we give them mindfulness? And what we found, which is actually the good news story, is that those who got the mindfulness training and practiced, and they had to practice about 12 minutes a day, that subset of people benefited. They stayed stable over time. They did not decline. And those who practiced a lot more than 12 minutes a day actually increased. So getting the mindfulness training helped, but it wasn't sufficient. It wasn't just sitting in on the class. They had to actually do the workout. And if they did that workout with regularity, they benefited. And, from that initial study, we've gone on to do a lot more studies and finding the same results. High demand pre-deployment, people decline, but if they get mindfulness training, they're protected. And the more they practice, the more they benefit.
Catch new episodes of the Mindful Mama podcast and other free resources, including the Mindful Mom Guide at mindfulmamamentor.com. You can listen to every back catalog episode, including interviews with Dr. Dan Siegel, Janla Van Zant, Sharon Salzberg, and get meditations, join our private Facebook group, and more. Go to mindfulmamamentor.com now. I'll see you there.